So, in the world of entertainment, let's take movies as an example. Some people actually hear dead people. And in the world of the National Basketball Association, if your name is Victor Wembanyama, you're probably not hearing dead people. At least I don't think you are. But what you are hearing is absolutely legitimate MVP chants throughout the game tonight as the San Antonio Spurs ended up holding on to take down the Miami Heat. 107-101 was the final. And I just want to say this. The San Antonio Spurs, for the very first time in the history of the Spurs organization, they are starting a season out 5-0. Victor has been absolutely fantastic so far this season. And of course, those MVP chants are 100% legitimate. We are going to talk about the San Antonio Spurs. We'll talk about a couple of the other teams in the Western Conference as well on this edition of your NBA Rundown. As always, North America, I am Dave Dubois, coming to you from the Silicon Valley. Now, I mentioned that Victor absolutely put on a MVP style performance tonight. Now I'm going to back it up with the actual stats. 27 points in the game, 18 rebounds, 6 assists. The big guy even got 1 steal in the game. And the stat line that just absolutely sets Victor Wembanyama apart from anybody is the blocks. He had 5 block shots tonight. He's averaging, through his first 5 games, 4.8 block shots per game at this point. Look, Victor has been an absolute beast. And when you watch the Spurs play and you watch Victor play, he is no longer learning about the National Basketball Association. He is accelerating his growth in the NBA. Of course, with a pretty young basketball team, which quite frankly is full of outstanding talent. Look, the Spurs organization has done a fantastic job over the years developing young players. And Devin Vassell is one of those players that's been in the Greg Popovich system for quite some time. Tonight, Vassell had 9 rebounds and 17 points. Then there's the performance of Stephon Castle, the rookie of the year in the association last year. 21 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds in the game. Dylan Harper, this year's potential rookie of the year, though I doubt he'll win the award. Slow your roll on that statement. 13 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds in the game. A total performance. Even Keldon Johnson pitched in with 11 tonight. A fantastic win once again by the San Antonio Spurs. Now, I don't want to overreact, and I don't want to go into this world of Wemby has sealed up the MVP at this point, because there are certainly a lot of deserving players. I mean, for God's sakes, Austin Reeves is actually averaging over 34 points a game for the Los Angeles Lakers at this point. So there's a ton of candidates already. Austin Reeves, certainly one of those that we didn't anticipate would be an MVP candidate. And I'm sure once Luka and LeBron come back, his numbers will go way down and effectively knock the Robin to Luka's Batman out of the MVP conversation. That being said, Luka is one of those players that we've all known for a long time would eventually be in the MVP conversation. And I heard analysts all offseason talking about how this was a growth year for the San Antonio Spurs. It would be a big deal for the San Antonio Spurs to actually find their way into the play-in. They're not even talking about the San Antonio Spurs actually ending up in the top 6 in the Western Conference. And I think at least through the first 5 games, there's no reason to doubt the fact that this San Antonio Spurs team, if they stay healthy, could not actually find their way into the top 6 in the highly, I'm going to say it one more time, highly competitive Western Conference. Now, as I mentioned, there's a couple other teams that we should talk about when it comes to the Western Conference at this point, and one of them was on display again tonight, and that, of course, was OKC, who ended up destroying the Washington Wizards. Now, we all know the word destroying the Washington Wizards, or the phrase destroying the Washington Wizards, is something a lot of people are, quite frankly, used to saying at this point. But 127-108 was the final in that one. And the scary thing about the Spurs, the scary thing about the Thunder at this point is, yes, SGA actually scored over 30 points again. But remember, they're missing a key player at this point. So what do the Spurs do? They are so deep that they actually give A.J. Mitchell the opportunity to actually play a lot of minutes in J-Dub's absence. And what is A.J. Mitchell doing at this point from an overall stats perspective? Well, he scored 20 tonight. And on the season at this point, A.J. Mitchell, somebody you've probably never really heard of before, is averaging over 18 points a game so far this season for the OKC Thunder. Look, the Thunder certainly are a young team. A lot of people said last year they're a young team that should actually have a chance of winning the championship. And as I watch the San Antonio Spurs team, I certainly don't think they are as deep all the way down the bench as the OKC Thunder are at this point. But I do think they are a young team, a young and, of course, hungry team that certainly, I'm not going to say could win a championship this year, because that is just crazy. That's like me saying I saw some dead people before I started this podcast. I think we're a year or two away from being able to say something like that legitimately about the San Antonio Spurs. We haven't seen them in the playoffs in years, so I think we need to see them in the playoffs first before we can start talking about rings and stuff like that. But if you are a San Antonio Spurs fan, at this point you have to be unbelievably excited about what you have in front of you for the rest of this particular season. It is a young team. De'Aaron Fox hasn't even played yet. It's a young team. It's fairly deep. Once again, not as deep as OKC, not as deep as the Houston Rockets. And we knew the Houston Rockets might actually struggle a little bit out of the gate. And so for the Rockets to actually be sitting there at 2-2 right now is pretty much what a lot of people, including myself, anticipated. I think the thing with Houston will be what happens in January and February. And I think once the team sort of meshes, and I think they do need to make a deal for a point guard as well. Look, there's a lot of teams that need to make deals for point guards at this point. Look, OKC is just so deep that it is going to be hard to see somebody actually truly knocking them off this year. However, it's certainly possible, especially when you factor in potential injuries that can happen throughout the season. Final thought on Victor Wembanyama for you tonight. Now, I've been watching Victor, like you all have, since he actually joined the San Antonio Spurs. This is year 3 for him. And it was a shame what happened in year 2 with the blood clot. But the way Victor is playing right now, with the passion, with the heart, with the actually not wanting to listen to the people that say, hey, it's just a good thing if you guys can come close to the playoffs this year. No, that is not Victor's mindset. Clearly, the San Antonio Spurs, including Wemby, believe they can actually win now. Now, when I say win now, I just simply mean win enough so that they can actually make the playoffs this year. All right, love to know your thoughts and opinions on Wemby. The San Antonio Spurs starting the season off with a franchise record 5-0 start. I want to hear from you, North America. Please go ahead and drop your comments in. For the NBA Rundown, as always, I'm Dave DeBaugh, wishing you all a tremendous amount of good luck, because we all know in this world of tariffs and this global economy, we're all going to need it.